Light heavyweight bout, Magomed Ankalaev sitting at minus 360 against Johnny Walker, who's coming in at plus 260. Over under 1.5 rounds, minus 165 for the over, plus 135 for the under. You see the height there for Johnny Walker and the reach, 82-inch reach. The guy is an absolute unit at 205. He's going to be bigger than most guys. Ankalaev going to be at a 7-inch reach disadvantage. His last fight was nearly a year ago, 10 months, I believe. It was the championship bout against Jan Blachowicz, which ended in a draw. And a lot of people think he won. A lot of people think Jan won. Comes out to a draw. And here we are. He's facing Johnny Walker, who's looked pretty dang good over his last few fights. He's on a 3-fight win streak. And his last fight against Anthony Smith looked a little bit more matured. I mean, a lot of people know him for being explosive. A lot of early finishes with the flying knees and just the explosive athlete that he is. Against Anthony Smith, he took a little bit slower, chopped at the leg, and looked a little bit more technical. I don't know if that's good or bad. This is a 3-round fight. I think he needs to use that explosiveness somewhat to his advantage, but then he's also got the tools. Like, he's so long, and he's actually getting a lot more technical that, like, he could maybe win a technical bout here against Ankalaev. So he's a live dog, but what are you seeing on this one?
Yeah, he just can't get clipped. And if he doesn't, I think he's going to have success on the feet. I really do. Like, that's a big reach advantage. 6'6" is an imposing figure to stand across from and to find your range against. Like, even though he's got the reach advantage, I mean, trying to punch up at 6'6", even though, I mean, Magomed's 6'3", but he's not like a long 6'3". Like, he fits pretty perfect into his height and build and everything. I mean, Walker looks like a towering, long, basketball player in there who's athletic, and his striking slick. He hits guys from weird angles, and when he mixes it up and gets really crafty and creative on the feet, he throws some shots that have a lot of sting on them, some kicks that are good. And I kept watching the fight with Jan and Magomed in their last bout. And if Johnny Walker can mix in the leg kicks like he did against Anthony Smith, the same way that Jan Blachowicz did in that fight, I think that's first and foremost in that first round. Establish those kicks, do a little bit of damage, and then work from there. Because if Magomed isn't taking damage and has his legs under him this whole fight, I think he's going to be able to close the distance at times, get his hands locked. Even if he doesn't get a takedown, put him up against the cage and make this fight in close quarters where Johnny can't use the reach and he can't use the kick in space and distance. Because if Magomed stands at range with Walker, for one, he's going to be hard to hit. For two, Walker has a lot of power when you give him that much room, especially with the right hand. He can cover a lot of distance really fast to where Magomed probably couldn't reach him. So that's interesting. In 3 rounds, Johnny doesn't have to worry about pacing himself as much, like it's a 5-round main event. And if he fights at the same pace he did against Anthony Smith, I think it's a close fight. If he can just ramp it up a little bit more, it gives himself a better chance. Because Magomed, he will go to the wrestling, not all the time and not always successfully, but there's been some fights where he gets tagged and he uses that wrestling pretty good, like against Nikita Krylov, gets tagged a few times, goes and gets a couple of takedowns to kind of offset that. Same thing, in the Jan Kudalaba fight too, the first one, or the second one, sorry. First round fight KO, but he mixed in the takedowns well. He kind of took some, I think he was trying to take the power and take some of the aggressiveness out of Kudalaba early, and he did just that and ended up working out and he gets the TKO. So if he can get the Johnny Walker's, if he can get Johnny Walker on the ground early in this fight, the better off he's going to be. Because if he can't and Johnny Walker keeps it at space, as an underdog, I think Johnny Walker's got a good chance to win, especially a decision, because I think his punching, his striking is going to look better than Magomed Ankalaev's, and he's going to land more frequently too. So I want to take a chance on the dog here. But man, Magomed is tough too. He's going to be hard to put away. And again, I don't think he's going to necessarily gas out on the course of a 3-round fight here. So it's almost a no bet situation. Just sit back and enjoy, or it's dog or pass here. But I'm looking forward to this one, honestly. I've liked the resurgence of Johnny Walker in his last 3 fights. This is definitely, in my opinion, a bigger step up in competition than his last 3 fights here. But if he can make it close, it should be fun.
Yeah, most likely I'm going to play this as a dog or pass because the things I don't like about Ankalaev, and it kind of comes down to a lot of these, Dagestani strikers, because Ankalaev doesn't shoot that many takedowns. He's really content to stand and strike with you. And honestly, I think his best path to victory here would be to use the takedowns, but he just hasn't really shown that's his go-to. So the thing I don't like about him is he's not super high volume on the feet, and based on that Jan fight, like he was losing those early rounds and nearly went down in round 3 with those leg kicks, and he basically was like, "Shit, I need to use my wrestling here, otherwise I'm gonna get finished with these leg kicks." So I don't really like it for Ankalaev at that price. I know a lot of people have been high on him over his career, me being one of them, but that Jan fight really scares me for Johnny Walker, just being how long and athletic he is. I think it's probably a dog or pass. The only concern with Walker is that chin. Like, he's been knocked out numerous amount of times. And if he exposes himself, Ankalaev does have the power to put him out. So that's what it comes down to for me. I'm going to take Johnny Walker for the pick. But basically just comes down to a dog or pass in this situation.